Welcome to the Bass Hole Podcast, the show where we talk bass fishing without the filters, the fluff, or the tournament politics. And I'm Bob from Bob's Bassin' and Stuff. Today's hot button topic is this: is social media hurting bass fishing? Now I know this is going to ruffle some feathers, but that's what we do here. We ask the tough questions and we tell it like it is. Now there's no denying that social media has changed bass fishing. You can't look at TikTok or Instagram or YouTube without seeing someone holding up a 5-pounder or putting out a how-to on a new bait that they claim is the secret sauce. It's never been easier to find out what's working, where it's working, and who's catching fish. But here's the million-dollar question. Is this helping or is it hurting bass fishing? Now, before anyone says I'm just a grumpy old man, let's look at the positives. More people are picking up rods, buying gear, and getting out on the water than ever before. Young anglers especially are finding bass fishing on YouTube and TikTok instead of from their grandpa or their uncle like many of us older fishermen did. And you don't have to fish tournaments or subscribe to a magazine anymore to learn the fine points about fishing. You can hop on YouTube and get a master class on anything from flipping jigs to forward-facing sonar. That's powerful. But here's the downside, and it's not what you think. The real issue is expectations. What you see online are the lunkers and the hook sets and the big grins and the photos. What you don't see are the backlashes, the hang-ups, the break-offs, and the hours of fishing without a bite. To the new angler, it looks like the YouTubers are catching a bass every single cast, and that's just not reality. I watched a video recently by Brian Lattimer where he told a great story about this. And he was talking about a commenter that was asking him how to catch big bass. And he made the comment that he could catch a 2 or 3 pound bass all day long. Well, that really ruffled Brian's feathers, and I understand why. He said, if you can catch 2 or 3 pounders all day long, you're going to win a lot of tournaments. And he's right. Brian pointed out that on the pro circuit, where there are over 100 professional fishermen, that only about 10 of them had caught a 5-fish limit in every tournament they had fished so far this year. That's 10% of pros. So think about that. If the best in the world can't catch a 5-fish limit every time they go out, why should we be disappointed if we can't do it? What makes us think we should catch a lunker on every cast just because that's what we see on Instagram? So here's the bigger question. What should we expect really? Fishing in the real world isn't edited. There's no way to put the bad days on the cutting room floor. There's no magical highlight reel. There's just you, your rod, and the bass. If only 10% of the best of the world are catching their limit every time out, why should we put that kind of pressure on ourselves? A tough day on the water doesn't mean you're a bad angler. It just means you're human. It means you're a fisherman, and that's part of the game. As I like to say, sometimes the fish win. Social media can inspire us, sure, but it can also trick us into thinking we're not measuring up. And if we let unrealistic expectations seep in, we risk losing the joy of what makes fishing special. The peace, the process, and the surprise of that next bite. All right, I've said my piece. Now I'd like to hear from you. Do you think social media is helping or hurting bass fishing? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd like to hear what you have to say. If you're new here, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with your bass fishing buddies. And don't miss the next episode of the Bass Hole Podcast. We've got a lot more topics to talk about. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, keep bassing. This has been the Bass Hole Podcast.